On this episode of This Comic Cooks, we're going to be talking about the 5th issue of the new Ultimate Spider-Man series that is by Jonathan Hickman, and we're going to see exactly what's going down. I am Vactor. I'm here with Super Spider Tim Costello. How are you, sir?
Everyone thinks they want to be a hero until it actually costs something, and it always does. We make sure of that, and then we get to see who you really are.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. And we have the Shoff Goblin. Shoff, how are you doing?
I got the mind goblin. My favorite memory of you is the day you finally started acting like a man, like an Osborn. The problem is, it hasn't happened yet.
Oh man, that was perfect. These are some quotes from the issue Ultimate Spider-Man number 5. If you've checked it out, we are going to be spoiling it. So fast forward if you haven't seen it, but pause it, read it, come back because spoiler alert, it is great as the whole series has been so far. Man, Tim brought up off mic another issue without Spider-Man. And I actually didn't even notice on this one because I was so into this story. Tim, what did you think about this issue?
Oh my gosh, this was so good. I almost want to. I don't know what the title of this issue was. I can't remember, but my title for it is The Secret Origin of the Green Goblin, because we got to see not only flashbacks to before this book, but what Harry has been doing throughout the book, like what he's been investigating. He meets the Kingpin, he meets Bullseye, he meets all these different people who are connected to this world. He meets Otto Octavius. That was awesome. And just seeing him, and I really liked the panels where, like, just after Spider-Man, unsuccessfully or successfully, you can make your own judgments, took down the Shocker. I think that was in issue 2, wasn't it?
Shocker!
Yeah, I think so.
I'll follow you to the ends of the earth.
I think it was in issue 2, but seeing Harry kind of pick up and see what he's doing was really cool. I really like this issue a lot, and I wouldn't have noticed if there wasn't a Spider-Man unless Shoff had pointed it out last month. So yeah, but it was really good. It was really good. I don't have a problem with there being no Spider-Man for 2 months in a row, but because the writing is so good. Like, the writing is just engrosses you from the second you open that page. And yeah, it was really strong. I loved it.
Yeah, at this point, I think Hickman has us all hooked, and we all want to see exactly what is going on in this
Hickman,
universe.
the Hookman.
Oh yeah, he has hooked us big time. I did want to say the original penciler is Marco Cicchetto, so we had guest artist David Messina back again. I think he did issue 4, and now he's doing he did issue 5 as well.
Marco's coming back next month.
Oh yeah, now that is going to be definitely something to dig our teeth into. Shoff, what did you think about issue 5?
I'm something of a podcaster myself. I loved it. I mean, this issue gave us so much. It gave us Kingpin in a bathing suit, which is something we've all been dying to see.
Oh, it's on top of my list.
And skin, you know what I'm saying? It gave us an insight into Harry Osborn. Even though this is a different universe, Harry is still plagued by his relationship with his father, which is strained, even in this universe.
Wouldn't be Harry without daddy issues.
Yeah, exactly. It would not be Harry without daddy issues. Yeah, there he is. There he is. Don't you just want to frisk that Fisk?
I don't know about you guys, but the voice that I heard when I was reading these Fisk Kingpin stuff, I heard the voice from the animated series. Yeah. I don't know why I heard that, but that's always been the Kingpin to me, and so much so that I had to read it out loud in the voice to, and I did that while I was reading it. I'm like, this is good. I like it.
I think he's the iconic Kingpin voice. Like, there hasn't been too many to compete with him. maybe somebody likes Michael Clark Duncan. He had a great voice, but I didn't see him as the Kingpin. Like he's not the one that I picture. So yeah, the
What about
90s
D'Onofrio?
animated. Yeah, they're definitely like different takes on
Mm-hmm.
the Kingpin. I still kind of default to the 90s animated. That's just the one that I
Yeah.
grew up with and the one that I think about. So yeah, that's the
He
one
looks like
that I
that
heard.
Kingpin too, so that's
Yeah.
probably what it did. Because when I think of Kingpin, I think of the big bulk with the tiny head. Like that's Wilson
Spider
Fisk.
Verse. You think of
Yeah.
Spider Verse, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Leave
exactly.
Schreiber. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think Leave Schreiber's he's got that New York accent.
Right.
Uh huh.
We're gonna do things, Spider Man. Um,
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
we get Otto Octavius in this episode, in this issue.
Yeah. Did you call that, Shoff? Because when I was reading it, I was like, who's this guy that's so
Well,
smart?
I was spoiled on
So was I.
the
Oh.
fact that Otto was going to be in this, so
Okay.
I kind of put two and two together, and then
Yeah.
once they said his name out loud, I was like, okay, I could see this. Yeah. But it was interesting to see him sort of in a lesser capacity, like more like an assistant, more of an employee than his own like diabolical mastermind type thing.
Which that also echoes the original Ultimate Spider-Man, the Brian Michael
did say
Bendis
that.
from
Yeah,
2000.
I definitely noticed that.
Where they connected every Spider-Man villain was like all connected. So Otto worked for Norman at Oscorp, so they're kind of echoing that here. But yeah,
I like that.
that's also what threw me off, Shoff, because at the same time, I'm also reading Otto in the 616 universe and what he's doing with I was gonna say sensational.
Superior.
Superior Spider-Man, Spider-Boy, like a bunch of stuff that's going on. That's the Otto that I'm thinking of. So this one, it threw me off. I was like, wait a minute, he's not the head of something.
One thing I really enjoyed was an interesting aspect of this is that all of these Stark equipment operates on a network. And that was something that we got introduced to in this issue. And Harry sees it for himself when he puts on the helmet and he can kind of see on his HUD display that there's this map of a bunch of red dots and more that have like appeared just within like the past like couple days at the time of like whenever this is taking place, showing that a bunch of Stark tech has recently become activated. And amongst that Stark tech, you're getting Shocker's gloves, you're getting the Pico suit for Spider-Man. And so this is how he's finding all these people. It's not just him flying around on his glider.
Right.
He has the network
tracking
built in.
system.
Exactly. So I thought that was a really cool concept. Because that also could be how other beings are being powered, right? So like people we haven't seen yet in the universe may have more Stark tech or something that Stark has done, because he's visited a lot of people who were supposed to be superheroes and are not in this new Maker universe. Do we think that this is probably the original Shocker? I can't think of his name. I guess my question would be, why would Tony go to a villain and be like, here's your Shocker gloves,
right?
So you
That's
can
what
be
threw
a bad
me off.
guy.
Right. Herman Schultz is the original
Thank you.
616 Shocker. So I didn't. It kind of threw me off when I was reading it, because why would he go to, like you said, a villain? Did you have any thoughts on who that was? Did you think it was Herman Schultz, or did you have any speculation on somebody else?
I didn't have any really speculation. I don't know who it was supposed to be. I have a feeling since it's veiled, that's going to be revealed at some point down the line. Because, like Shoff said, it doesn't really make sense why Tony Stark would just show up to this random person and says, "Hey, you need these gloves to rob people. Let's do it."
Yes.
That didn't make sense to me. I liked how they kind of showed the Shocker gloves as kind of like the Iron Man repulsor gloves, and that's one thing I liked. I almost consider it like almost a Spider-Man Homecoming thing, where like it was given to somebody and then Schultz just took it because he knew it was on the market or something.
That makes sense.
And so I like that idea. I really like how they have implemented Stark tech, and this is something Vactor has keyed into since the very beginning of this book. Is that and we've seen that the Goblin tech is very much like Iron Man, and and they explain and Octavius explains that they're using like repulsor engines for the gliders, which took me back to Winter Soldier when Fury says that Stark replaced the helicarrier turbine engines with repulsor engines to kind of soup them up, and that's what this kind of reminded me of. Yeah. See, it looks like the Iron Man gloves, and I really liked that touch.
Yeah,
And
man.
seeing the Stark tech. Also, the Stark Stain logo has the Avengers A. That was interesting.
Yes.
So,
and
yeah,
that's what I love about the Ultimate Universe. Back when, like I said, the Bendis, the original Ultimate Spider-Man, it plays on the stuff that we know from the 616. It's like it's in on the joke that, hey, what the Avengers A looks like, right? Like this, and they can also these writers can play with those expectations. They can twist it, and so it's not who you think. Like the way that Harry has been in this, we have these expectations of him from the 616 universe and from the movies, all these different things that we can play with, but he's not that Harry. He's not that same guy. And we
he's a
got to
little
see
less
that.
Harry.
We got to see that in the
he
Norman
got a haircut,
flashback. Little hair. We
a
got
hairy
to
cut.
see we got to see that in the Norman flashback of the father and the son, the expectations and everything. But do you, Shaw, think that he's more of a good guy in this? Like that's the way that they're setting it up initially, that he's more of like a hero and giving him the Iron Man stuff, giving him access. But then there's that little hint of villain to me
Yeah.
of Norman, of Otto. Like he has all these villains around him.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that?
So I think he's especially at the end when you start to see that Tony Stark has personally handpicked people to go to and to gift them various gadgets or abilities, but he's not one of them. And he says, I had to get it the hard way. And that, I think, like, there's a jealousy there is one thing. I mean, he had to break into this secret chamber where all of Tony's tech was that he almost didn't even know existed. It wasn't for Otto's like understanding of the alloys being used and everything else. But that combined, the jealousy combined with this needing approval from his father, never getting it, not being able to get it because his father is now dead. There is a certain sense of justice, his own personal idea of what justice looks like. But I think ultimately it's going to butt heads with what true justice looks like, which is what Spider-Man would stand for. So I think that we are gearing towards a butting of heads and a division of who is a hero and who is not. By the end of it, he even says, he's like, am I a boy or a man? Am I a hero or something else? I guess we're about to find out. And I think he is something else. Yeah. I think he wants to be a hero, but I think he's just too damaged.
There's just so much meat on the bone here.
Yeah.
It's like, this is the perfect comic to talk about on a monthly basis. And then I think it's going to read really well once it's collected in a collected format. If you're wondering where Super Tim went, Spider Tim, he was having some technical difficulties. So Shoff and I are going to take it home on this episode. Shoff, any closing thoughts on where they're going or where they've been?
Well, I feel like the next issue has got to be perpetuating the plot forward now. So the issue 4 kind of grounded it. It was not about Spider-Man. It was about their interactions between Peter Parker and Harry Osborn. Issue 5, the backstory of Harry Osborn to understand where he's coming from. Now we're caught up. And this is also the issue 6 is going to be 6 months, which is when Tony Stark was supposed to come back.
Oh, yes.
So I think that's what we're getting to. I think what we can expect in issue 6 is the return of Tony Stark with Spider-Man, and maybe we'll see a bunch of other New York street level heroes, maybe not Daredevil, obviously, but other characters as well that have been also visited by Tony Stark. As we saw in issue 5, Harry is aware that Stark has been visiting a bunch of others. And also, Harry doesn't like Stark. And took over Stark's company. So there's that dynamic too. So I think we're going to definitely get some interesting interactions between Stark, Harry, Peter, and anybody else. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yes, man, I can't wait to see what happens. And next month, we're getting the first issue of the Ultimates. So we're adding to this Ultimate Universe. We're getting more and more. So let's see what's cooking, Shaw, in this new Ultimate Universe. We want to know your thoughts on Ultimate Spider-Man. Even if you have thoughts on the Ultimate Universe in general, Ultimate Black Panther, Ultimate X-Men, everything that's going on right now in this new Marvel Universe, do you think it was worth them bringing this back from the dead, resurrecting this Ultimate Universe? I'm curious to know your thoughts. Until next time, we will be here talking more Ultimate Spider-Man on This Comic Cooks.